Hello everybody, my name is Jose Rodriguez. In a previous video, we were able to install a Windows Server virtual machine that we will use as a domain controller for pandalab.com. But in order to promote our server to be a domain controller, we need to add the Active Directory Domain Services role to our server. We will add three roles to our Windows server: Active Directory Domain Services, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, or DHCP, and Domain Name System, or DNS. You might, you might be asking yourself, are we also adding the DHCP server role? Aren't we using the DHCP server we configured for the pandalab.com network? The answer is yes. We are currently using the NAT network DHCP server, but we will disable it after we add the DHCP role to our server. Before we add these three roles to our Windows server, a recommended first step is to set a static IP, since multiple devices and resources will interact with our Windows server. Based on our network design, the IP that we need to use for our server is 192.168.1.4. So let's start by accessing our server and opening the command prompt application. Let's go to the search bar, type CMD, and then hit enter. So we can check the current IP, the current IP address for our server. Let me just increase the size of the font size so you can have. So if we type and run IP config slash space slash all, you will see the current IP address for our server is 192.168.1.5. Okay, and it is also important to know the IP addresses for the default gateway, which is 192.168.1.1. Remember that this is the IP that belongs to our pfSense router. And also you can see here the IP for the DHCP server, 192.168.1.3. This is the IP address for the DHCP server we configure for our NAT network, pandalab.com. Now, let's click on the Windows icon. Let me just minimize this window. So let's click on the Windows icon at the bottom left area of your screen. Select the settings option and then select network and internet here. On the left side of the window, select the Ethernet option here. On the right side of the window, select the change adapter options and then make a right click on the Ethernet adapter and select properties. Then select the Internet Protocol version 4 and click on properties here. Okay, in the general tab, let me move this window a little bit. In the general tab, select the use the following IP address, and we will need to type for IP address, it will be 192.168.1.4. Okay, and then this will be our static IP address. For the sub, if you make a click here, it will automatically use the default value for subnet mask, which is 255, 255, 255, 255, and 0, which means 24 bits to describe our network. And the default gateway, we will use the same IP address for the pfSense router, which is 192.168.1.1. Okay, and now we'll use for the following DNS server addresses. Use the following DNS server addresses. The preferred DNS server, since our Windows server will be also a DNS server, we will need to type 192.168.1.4, okay, which is the IP, the static IP that we want to configure for our Windows server, and the alternate DNS server will be the pfSense router. Okay, so we will use 192.168.1.1. Okay, and then we will click on OK. Let's go to the command. Let's click on close here, and then let's go back to the command prompt. Okay, and then this let's type and run again. Let me clear the screen with the CLS command, and let's type and run again ipconfig space/all, and you will see, okay, the new IP address, the new static IP address, in this case 192.168.1.4. The default gateway is going to be the same IP address, and now also the DNS, you will see the new DNS servers IP addresses. Okay, so now that our server has the static IP address, we can add the 3 server roles described before. So let me just close this command prompt application, and let me close this network connections window and also the settings window. Okay, so since installing server roles is an important step for our server, we will create a snapshot of our virtual machine in case something goes wrong when adding the server roles, or in case we just need to go back to the current server state. Okay, so we will use the machine menu. Okay, and then select take a snapshot, and here we will, let's just create a name for our snapshot. It's going to be before installing server roles. Okay, and you can add a description if you want. Okay, we can just say, for example, a static IP address is 192.168.1.4. Okay, you can add whatever description you want, and let's just click on OK. And on the right side of your screen, you will see this message bar that is that give you an idea of the status of the snapshot. So VirtualBox is currently taking a snapshot of the current state of your virtual machine. It shouldn't take that long, honestly. So let's just wait for some more seconds. Okay, so the snapshot is ready. If you would like to review all the previous snapshots, or the snapshot that you just created for your virtual machine, if you go to the VirtualBox application window, here's the my domain controller 01 virtual machine. If you click on the tools option, if you click on the snapshots option, you will see here, this is the name, the first snapshot that we just created for our virtual machine. So whenever you need to go back to this state of your virtual machine, you just click on the snapshot, and then you can click on restore here. Okay, so now let's open the Server Manager app, which is this one. Okay, in case you cannot open it, you can just search for the application here, Server Manager, and you can open it. I have that application already opened it here in my computer, so let's just work with this one. Okay, and then at the top right side of your screen, click on the Manage option here, okay, and then select Add Roles and Features. A new window will show up, and click on Next to continue. Make sure the role-based or feature-based installation type is selected, and then click on Next to continue. Select the server on which to install roles and features. In our case, it will be DC01, okay? And then click on Next to continue. Okay, here is our Windows server. This is the name, DC01. And something interesting is that the IP address here is showing us 192.168.1.5, and it is not showing us the 192.168.1.4 IP address that we configured previously. So let's just cancel this for a second, okay? And let's refresh the dashboard, okay? And if you go to local server here on the left side of your screen, let's see if it's showing the new IP address. Yep. So here you can see the IP address for the server is now 192.168.1.4. Okay, we just needed to refresh the dashboard. Okay, so let's go and try again. Let's go to Manage. Let's go to Add Roles and Features. Let's click on Next. Select the role-based or feature-based installation type. Let's click on Next. And then we need to select a server from the server pool, and the only one that we have available is DC01 with an static IP address of 192.168.1.4. Let's click on Next. And then we need to select the roles that we need to install, okay? So we will start with Active Directory Domain Services, right? Just click on Add Features. Then we need to install the DHCP server role. Okay, let's go with the default selection here, and then just click on Add Features. And finally, we will add the DNS server option, okay? And click on Add Features. Okay, so now just click on Next. Here is asking us to select the features that we would like to install. So as you can see, some of them are already selected, because that's what happened when we were picking the roles that we would like to to install. So let's just go with the default values here, okay? And then just click on Next to continue. It will give you some information about some notes about the Active Directory Domain Services role. Then just click on Next. These are some notes about the DHCP server role. And just click on Next. And here are some notes about the domain name system role. Okay, click on Next. And if you selected all the devices, all the required roles and features, okay, and if you don't need to do any other changes, you can just click on Install. Okay, so now we need to wait for the Server Manager application to add or install the 3 roles for our Windows server. Okay, so as you can see in this message here, it says that the installation was successful on DC01, okay, but additional configuration is required, okay? So let's just click on close, okay? And then if you go to the top right side of your screen, you will see some notifications and this yellow triangle, okay? So if you click on it, okay, there are two additional steps that we need to complete. The first one is to complete the DHCP configuration, okay, which is one of the roles that we added to our Windows server. And the other one is to promote this server to a domain controller, okay? So we will start with this one. We will promote our server to a domain controller, okay? So let's click on this one. And for the deployment configuration tab, we need to select the deployment operation. So we will go with the add a new forest, okay? Because this is our first domain controller in our domain in pandalab.com, and we need to add the root domain name, and here's where we can use pandalab.com, okay? And then click on next. Okay, so now we need to select the functional levels for the forest and also the domain, okay? So the functional level for domains or forest, it basically provides different features and capabilities, including authentication, protocols, security features, and compatibility with other domain controllers. So just be sure that whenever you add other servers or domain controllers or any other resource to your domain, they have the same functional level or at least compatible functional levels, okay? So we will use, in this case, the last one we have available here is uh, Windows Server 2016, okay? So let's use 2016 for both functional levels. Um, yeah, since we want this server also to be a domain name system server, we need to check this option. It's already there, so there is no we don't need to modify anything here. And then we need to create a password for the directory services restore mode. Okay, so and then we just need to confirm the password, and then we can click on next to continue. Okay, so we have a message here that says a delegation for this DNS server cannot be created because the authority parent zone cannot be found. Okay, let's just skip that message for now. Um, and the reason for this warning message is because um, we are installing the DNS role, right, in our server. So it's giving us a chance to create a DNS delegation with another DNS server, but we don't need to create this because we are installing the DNS role right now. Okay, so let's just click on next. And then we just need to wait for the verification of the NetBIOS name, okay, for our domain controller. Okay, and the NetBIOS domain name is PandaLab. Okay, and then click on Next. Okay, we will go with the default values for the location of the Active Directory domain services database, logged files, and sysvol. Okay, so let's just click on Next. So let's review all our selections. Okay, if there are now any other required changes, we can just click on Next to continue. And then the system will start a prerequisites check, okay, to see if there is any issue before trying to install the three roles: Active Directory Domain Services, DHCP, and DNS. Okay. Okay. We got a message that all the prerequisite checks passed successfully. So now we can click on install to begin the installation of the three roles. Let's click on install. Now we just need to wait for the installation process to complete. Okay, so the server was successfully configured as a domain controller. Okay, and we are automatically getting this message that the computer will be restarted. Okay, so let's just wait for the computer to restart. Okay, so now we need to press the Control Alt Delete keys combination to unlock our screen. Okay, so you can see now, if you remember from previous videos, when we try to access and use the credentials for our Windows server, we only had the username administrator, and now you can see that this user account administrator is part of the Pandalab domain that we just created. Okay, so we will use the same password, hit enter, and wait for the system to open the desktop. When we try to restart our Windows server, okay, it took a little bit longer than usual because of the new services and features that we just installed in our computer. Okay, Okay, so let's just close this server manager window here. Okay, now when you access on the left side of your screen, when you click on the dashboard option here, right, it will also show you all the roles and server groups, okay, um, for this Windows server, okay. So hopefully, if everything went well with the Active Directory domain services role, okay, that role should should appear here. Okay, so let's just give it some minutes. Okay, so as you can see, we have new roles, 4 new roles here: Active Directory domain services, DHCP, DNS, and also the file and storage services that was installed, maybe because it was linked to one of the 3 rows that we installed previously. Okay, we still need to complete some additional configuration. So if we go to this icon here, okay, the notifications icon, we still need to complete the DHCP configuration. So let's click on here in this link. It should show you this window, okay, with a brief description of what we need to do. The following steps will be performed to complete. Okay, so let's just click on next. And then for the authorization tab, it says specify the credentials to be used to authorize this DHCP server in Active Directory domain services. And of course, we will use the administrator account for this. Okay, so let's just click on commit. So it creates security groups. Okay, and it says that we need to restart the DHCP server on the target computer for the security groups to be effective, and we need to, and the DHCP server is now authorized. Okay, so we can just click on close, and we can just restart our computer again, just to be sure that everything is okay. Thank you for watching this video.